morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. We are into June, and we are kicking off World Ocean Week. So all week long, we have a crazy amount of live events with ocean scientists and researchers and filmmakers, explorers from all over the world. So it is absolutely jam-packed. If you want to check out more of the events, you can go to exploringbytheseat.com/Ocean Week, and you'll be able to find all of the events. We'll also send a few little update emails this week with some of our email events. On Wednesday, Thursday, I will be at the Explorers Club in New York, and I will have some of our speakers live with us. So they'll be hanging out with me at the Explorers Club in New York, and we will get to meet some of them that way. So it is a very, very busy week. We're kicking things off with our first event today. We are going to go to South Africa to SANCCOB, which is the South African Penguin and Seabird Rehabilitation Center. So they provide 24/7 rescue service for sick and injured seabirds and abandoned seabird chicks. So they respond to things like oil spill disasters, chicks that maybe have been abandoned or sometimes can be attacked by wildlife like dogs. They're recognized internationally as a leader in the field of seabird rehabilitation, treating an average of 2,500 injured, sick, oiled seabirds annually. They are specialists in chick rearing. So they get eggs, African penguin eggs, maybe they've been abandoned for some reason, and raise them and eventually release them back into the wild. So I am going to bring in Nonjabulo in just a moment. She is on the education team at SANCCOB. Here we go. Well, I was going to say good morning, but I know it's afternoon for you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good afternoon. It's actually afternoon here. It's drizzling also. We're in winter now. We're in our winter season.
Yeah, we usually always catch you on nice sunny days. I think this is one of the first times that we've caught you in the rain.
It's winter season now.
Yeah.
So thank you for that introduction. Welcome, everyone. As Joe has mentioned, I'm Nonjabulo. I'm here at the Education Department. I work for SANCCOB, which is the Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds. And as he mentioned, we rescue birds. We treat them here at the center. We rehabilitate them here at the center. And then we send them back into the wild. So I'm just going to switch my camera so you guys can see the center and all of the cool stuff that happens at SANCCOB. So this is the whole center. So what would happen at SANCCOB? Why SANCCOB is here today? So first thing, what will happen is that you'll get a call or someone will bring in an injured sick bird into the center, and then it'll go to a hospital area. We have a specialized hospital to treat these birds, and then we rehabilitate them in the different pools and allow them to swim. So it's actually late lunch now. So they all gathered here because 3 o'clock is the feeding time. So they're probably like, why this person here not coming in with our fish? So guys, what happens here at SANCCOB is that we treat strictly seabirds, no other birds, just seabirds. So we have our African penguin, then we have our rock hoppers over there. So you see those two ones, that's Alfie and Mosley. That's our rock hopper penguins. And we have our kelp gull. So there's a kelp gull. Then the one on top of the rock flapping its wings, that is a heart-lip skull. As you can see, there's the pool around there for them to swim. So even though we rescue and send these birds back into the wild, we do get patients like these guys over here who are long-term patients who are going to stay with us for a long period of time. So we're looking at maybe a year, 6 months to a year. And then we also have our permanent residents, the ones that can't be released back into the wild because of illnesses that they have, disabilities that they have, and then we then classify them as unable to survive back into the wild. So they stay in this area. This is our home pen area. Hey, they're trying to pick me because they want their food. There's Mosey creating drama. Okay, they must be really very hungry today. So this is our whole pen area. Some of them are in their nest. As you see, there's their nest. We've even got some beach sand for them, you know, just to try and make it resemble the wild, because most of our home pen birds are permanent residents. They will not be leaving the facility, unfortunately. Let's see, one that's clearly visible. There's Flipper over here. That's Flipper. As you can see on the back of Flipper, he's got like some missing feathers, so he's not waterproof. And therefore, if he stays too long in the water, chasing fish or anything, he's going to get what we call hypothermia and can possibly die. So
hey, Nonjabulo, I just want to jump in for a sec. Your finger just slid over part of the camera.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Can everybody see now?
We got you now. Yep.
Can everybody see now?
Yep, all good.
Okay, very dramatic, but okay. So as I mentioned, this is our home pen area. So I'm going to move. I don't have any food with me, Rocky. Casey is coming. I'm sorry. So I'm going to move to our other areas. So these are our rehabilitation pools. So once a bird has come from the hospital and has been treated and deemed fit to now start swimming and exercising and getting ready to be released back into the wild, we will put them into these pools to start swimming and get their strength back. So that side, guys, that house over there, that's nursery for our chicks, but most of them have grown up now. And once a chick is growing up and gains its waterproof feathers, this is how they look like. This is what we call a blue. This is when they also start swimming. And if when they were in the wild, this is when their parents will be like, okay, it's time for you to leave the nest now and catch your own fish. Then let me move to the other areas to see the different pens. So we have different pens here at SANCCOB for the different birds. Sorry about that. So this is our other pool. As you see, it has a net. This is for some of the birds, the flying birds. As you know, penguins cannot fly, for them to have a swim. These guys don't want to go in for a swim.
No, they don't.
It's cold. I can understand. It's super cold. So as you see there, this is what a person wears at SANCCOB when you Crocs and an oilskin. Don't worry, stand there and show your face. So these guys don't want to go for a swim. So how do we rehabilitate a bird and see that the bird is now good to go and get released? So once the bird has come from the hospital, we'll put some swimming time. So we have different grades for the swimming time. We have grade 1, where the bird will just come in as these guys come in. The gate is open. They can go out and go back again. And then they'll move to pen 5 there, which is for grade 2s. We'll swim for 20 minutes, 3 times a day. And then the final stage, pen 8, they will swim for 1 hour, 3 times a day. And then after that, a bird will be released. But before it gets released, our vets and other rehabbers, they call seabird rehabbers, will check the birds and make sure their feathers are waterproof, make sure the bird is healthy, it's got good weights, and then it can be released back into the wild. So I'm just going to go to our other pens where we have some of the flying birds. Hey, these are some of our flying birds. As you see, here we mostly have the seagulls. The big ones are known as the gull, and the smaller ones are known as the hot-lipped gull. So most of these birds that we get here in the center is because maybe one got a injured leg or an injured wing. Sometimes they got entangled in fishing lines, fishing nets, or they got swallowed a fishing hook or got entangled on a fishing hook. Some of them are attacked by dogs on the beach. They're not supposed to, especially the gulls. The seagulls eat everything. They try and steal your chips and sandwiches also at the beach. So they come in after eating something they're not supposed to, like plastic and other things like paper, because they don't know it's not good for them. And they get sick. You'll see it, it's very weak. They come in here very weak, unable to walk or fly, and then we have to treat them. Hey, these guys are having a swim, even in this cold weather. All right, and that is a journey of a bird from SANCCOB. So I'll lastly move on to our hospital area. So you guys can see that we do have an actual hospital. Sorry, so since I'm going to be moving about, the Wi-Fi might get cut, but we'll be back in a few seconds.
All right. While you're making your way
It's
to
a
the
long
hospital part, I just want to remind our classrooms who are tuning in via YouTube, let us know where you're watching from. You can use the chat sidebar and then start sending in your questions, because after Nonjabulo finishes presenting, we're going to have a Kahoot quiz together. I'll put that up shortly. And then we're going to do a whole bunch of Q&A. So just like she predicted, she's on the move. So the signal froze, but once she gets to the hospital section, we should get the connectivity back. So we'll just be patient for a moment, and we should have Nonjabulo back with us shortly. We'll check out a little bit of the hospital, and then we'll do some Kahoot and Q&A action together. So it is a little bit of a rainy day in South Africa today. Sometimes that can affect the signal a little bit. I think we just lost her because she's moving in between the Wi-Fi routers to get to the hospital. So just bear with for a second and she will be back with us. And then, yeah, we'll check out the hospital section and go from there. We may actually see her duck completely out if things are really frozen, and then she'll pop back in. So we'll just have to be a little patient while we're waiting. I can see we've got classes saying hi. Miss Shields, class is hanging out with us. Miss Martin's crew in Etobicoke. Miss Steckley's class, 4th graders are with us. Mrs. Dahl's 3rd graders are with us. They say they love penguins. That's pretty cool. This is the right place to be. Mr. DeMarco's 1-2 class are with us. Oh, some grade 5s hanging out too. We've got some 7th graders in New Jersey. All right, and there we go. I think our connection's coming back. All right, come on, internet. There we go.
Hello, can you guys still hear me?
We hear you now. We lost you, but you're back.
Yeah, I was at the hospital area, but then I had to move since the Wi-Fi is not good. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Sometimes connectivity just doesn't always cooperate. I was just saying hi to a few classrooms. We have so many with us. Mrs. Barry's 1st graders in Massachusetts are saying hi. We've got another crew in Stratford, Ontario joining us. So we are jam-packed. We're going to have lots of questions today.
Okay, we can do the questions during feeding time.
Excellent.
Okay. All right, so yes, we can go into the different questions.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, Nonjabulo, is I made a Kahoot quiz while you were presenting. So a few little quiz questions for our classrooms.
Okay.
They can test their knowledge. So what I'm going to do is load that up. While it's loading, we'll also do some questions. We'll play some Kahoot, and then we'll do a whole bunch more questions. So I'm going to share my screen here while the Kahoot loads. Here it comes. All right, here comes the screen share as well. There we go. Should be loading for everybody. You need to go to kahoot.it, for a PIN number, and today's PIN is 6299270. So lots of ways you can join. If you have a Chromebook or a tablet or something like that at your desk, you can join that way. If not, your teacher could pop this up at the front of the classroom. You could shout out your answers to him or her. And there we go. The first one is a space penguin joining us today. That randomly generated name is the space penguin. If you don't have any technology to connect today, you can just play along and guess the answers and see how you do. If you're joining from home, lots of home students join. You can also just scan that QR code with a tablet or with a phone if you have one handy. So as groups are joining us, I have some questions here in the chat. So let's get some of them going. First question that we have is, so Miss Steckley's class would like to know, you mentioned the grades that penguins go through for swimming. Can you tell us what the highest grade is?
That will be the grade 3s. That's 1 hour 3 times a day. For
1 hour
swimming.
3 times a day. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Dahl's crew would like to know, it's about penguin species. So maybe we'll start off with how many penguin species could potentially be at SANCCOB? How many different species?
So here at SANCCOB currently we only have 2 species. We have the African penguin and the rock hopper penguins. But here in the Southern African region, we only have the African penguins. They are the only penguins that can live in our weather and climate. So with the rock hopper species, they shouldn't be here in the first place, but somehow they did land in our shores and we took them in and brought them to our center to be cared for.
All right. And then we can see that they're eating now. Maybe I'll bring that up on the screen here while the classrooms are still joining us. What do you usually feed them at SANCCOB? What kind of fish do they like?
They love sardines. Sardines is their main thing. Penguins will go where the sardines are.
All right, very cool. And then what about in the wild? How long could a South African penguin live for? What's an average?
So the average is up to 25 years.
Okay. Let me see how our classes joining us are doing. Let's see. still, I think it's slowed down. I think we can probably get started. So after this, we'll start bringing some camera classrooms in and start getting some of their questions. But let's play Kahoot and let's see who comes in those 3 podium spots today. So here we go. If you are paying attention, you are ready to go. Here comes our first question in 3, 2, 1. All right. SANCCOB is located in, so which country in Africa? Is it Tanzania, South Africa, Kenya, or Botswana? So which country in Africa? Tanzania, South Africa, Kenya, or Botswana? You've got a few more seconds to get your answer locked in. All right, good job, crew. It is absolutely South Africa. Let's take a look at our leaderboard. And funny enough, the space penguin is in first place. Here we go. About how many birds are treated each year at SANCCOB? Was it around 1,000, around 2,000, around 2,500, or around 3,000? So you have to think back to the introduction. About how many seabirds? About 1,000, 2,000, 2,500, or 3,000. A few more seconds. Ooh, we had a little bit of a split, but I did mention about 2,500 seabirds each year. Let's go to our next question. The magic shark has displaced the space penguin. Here we go. True or false action? The young penguins are called blues when they get their waterproof feathers. Is that true or is that false? That the young penguins are called blues when they get their waterproof feathers. True or false? Got about 5 more seconds to get an answer in. True or false?
Yeah, okay.
All blues.
Can you hold it while I come down?
All right. That is absolutely true. Good job, crew. We've got one more question here. Space penguin taking back the lead. Let's see what happens. The very loud penguins that we heard calling for their food, was that the king penguins, the South African penguins, the emperor penguins, or the rock hopper penguins? So who were those loud birds? The king, South African, the emperor, or the rock hopper penguins? All right, that was definitely Rocky and those other rock hopper penguins. Let us take a look at the podium spots and let's see what happened here. In third place, we've got the melodic goat. In second place, we've got the fuzzy llama. Top spot, who took it in the end? The magic shark sneaking back in and taking first place. Very cool. Well, thanks so much, classrooms, for playing a little Kahoot with us. Let's go right back to that Q&A action. I am just going to make sure I turn off the Kahoot music. We've got our penguins there, nice and close, having some, looks like maybe some sardines there. All right, let's bring in some camera classrooms. So I'm going to start off. I am going to bring in Miss Marquardt's crew. They are joining us from Virginia today. So here we go. Let's get them in front and center. How are we doing, Virginia? There they are.
Hello.
All right, we're ready for you.
All right, does anybody have a question? Anybody want to come up and ask a question? Brayden? Hurry up, or be loud, one of the two.
All right.
Sorry, we're packed in here.
That's okay. Looks like lots of students. He's got to make his way to the front.
Which penguin's the oldest?
Which are the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know, is there, Nonjabulo, is there a resident penguin who's the oldest there?
Jane, who's our oldest residents? Flipper. Where is Flipper? Okay, he's gone into his nest. Flipper has gone into his nest.
All right. Do we have a guess how old Flipper is?
But it's one of the African penguins.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we'll come back your way. Let's see if you have another question. We have Mrs. Farrelly's crew who are joining us today. They are in Toronto, Ontario, some second graders, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like your camera and microphone are connected. So if you want to put some questions into the private chat. I'll make sure that I read out some of those questions for you. I don't see any yet, but I will keep an eye out for them from Mrs. Farrelly's crew. Let's go now to Farmington. We've got students hanging out in Farmington, Missouri. How are we doing today?
Hi, good. This is Ellie.
All right, Ellie.
What is the process of fixing or helping a animal?
All right. So do you want to know just in general or maybe from an oil spill? What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, like what are some of the common reasons why the penguins are brought to the center, maybe?
Ah, great. So Nonjabulo, we lost you for a second, but our crew in Farmington was wondering, what are some of the reasons why a penguin might end up at SANCCOB?
On. Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, what are some of the reasons why a penguin might end up at SANCCOB?
So we take in any injured or sick bird. So a person or anyone from the general public might be at the beach and call SANCCOB and be like, there's an injured penguin or sick penguin or penguin that is covered in oil. We'll go out to rescue that bird and it will come to the center to be treated. So it's like just like you guys when you get sick and go to the doctor.
All right. I like how they kind of come up all orderly like that, kind of one at a time. I thought there'd be more of a rush, but they seem to be coming up nice and orderly for their fish.
Yeah, I'm listening to this right now.
All right, Missouri, do you guys have a second question before we go to another classroom?
Yeah, we had a question about the different. Who had a question about the difference between the penguins or what would happen? It was Asa. Okay, Asa has one.
All right, Asa.
What would happen if South African penguins went to Antarctica?
Okay. So do you think a South African penguin could survive in Antarctica?
Well, these penguins are very quite resilient. So maybe some could eventually adapt to the climate in Antarctica. But it's very, very cold. I mean, it will take a while for them to get used to the ice and those low temperatures. So it can be a possibility, I'll never know, but I think it's a pretty low possibility.
All right. Let's check in with Mr. McGill's crew. So, Mr. McGill, I think the microphone's working. How you doing, guys?
You say hi.
Hi.
All right, joining us from Thunder Bay today.
I have a question.
I think I see someone coming in from in the back. Yep.
Where do most of the birds come from?
So most of these birds live by the sea, by the coast. Well, the penguins and the seagull will live by the coast. And then sometimes we get birds like the albatross, which is far deeper into the ocean. Gannets also are pretty much deeper into the ocean. But these ones, the seagulls and the penguins, mostly live along the beach. So if you have to come to South Africa and go to Boulders Beach, you'll see them right there at the beach.
All right. So Mr. McGill's crew, do you have one more for us?
Sure, Trent, go ahead. Make sure it's appropriate.
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, it's so hard to choose from them.
Hey, Trent.
I would have to say it's Jaeger. Can't see her right now. So Jaeger is one of our penguins that only has one flipper. So she is surviving with one flipper. So she was attacked by a predator. She came in here. Her flipper was really damaged. And then unfortunately, it had to be amputated. And now she only has one flipper. Oh, there's she, but you can't really see her because she's hiding behind the plant.
I think just tucked there at the back, moving towards the back now.
Okay, she's waddling away.
All right, very cool. Okay, we've got a virtual school hanging out with us. St. Isidore's Virtual School in Ontario. How are we doing today?
Great. Can you hear us?
I gotcha. Yeah, I can see some questions in the chat. So if you want to maybe pick a couple of them, let's get them
Sure.
in.
Nicholas is really concerned if we are hand feeding these penguins and birds, how do they know how to acclimatize to hunt for themselves when they're released?
Okay, that's a very good question. So here at SANCCOB, one thing when you come here to work here, you are trained on how to handle these birds as wild birds. You are not allowed to touch them unnecessary. You are not allowed to pet them or kiss them. That's why even when the public comes here to look at these birds, we don't allow them to touch or feed these birds. So these ones here at home pen, because they are permanent birds, they are treated differently to the ones in the swimming pools, the rehab area. So the other ones in the rehab area, you feed them, you hold one by one, and they hate it. People get bitten here very often. They hate it. So we train staff to make sure they handle these birds as wild birds. You're not allowed to be friendly at all to these birds.
All
Thank
right,
you.
great question, Nicholas. You have one more for us there, virtual school?
Any other questions, friends? Let me know.
I can come back too. I can check in.
Sorry?
Moths.
No, experience here.
All right, I'll come check back in a moment. We got to check in with.
Okay, before we continue, this is Bianca. So one of the penguins bit her here. Which one was it, Bianca?
That one, I don't know. I was trying to pick one up and the other one bit me while I was trying to pick that one up.
But
And
it
on
seems
the face.
and on the face.
Oh,
That was
no.
a seagull.
So that's how we are able to. These birds are wild. So because of that, you can see that these birds are pretty wild and uncomfortable being touched and handled.
All right. Well, there's good proof that they are wild, and they'll be ready to go back when they're ready. But I love watching them swim. Very cool. Mrs. Carnes, fourth graders, you've sent some great questions in the chat. So if you want to go ahead and ask, there they are. Hey, fourth graders. We'd love to get a couple of questions.
How do you release the animals when you've been taking care of them for so long?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
She's wondering about the release. How do you release the animals?
So the release is dependent on the bird. So just like when you go to a doctor or hospital and he only lets you go once you are better, once you feel better. So once our vets and other staff members see that the bird is better and after it has reached its final stage of swimming, which is 1 hour 3 times a day, we have checked that it's waterproof, we checked that it's healthy, then it will be released. So we put them in these boxes, those brown boxes you see over there. We have vehicles and then we release them at the beach. When we do release them, we make sure we release them at a beach where there's a lot of other penguins so they can just, adjust. Penguins are very friendly to each other, so it's easy for them to adjust at any colony with any other birds, other penguin birds.
All right, fourth graders, you got another one for us? There they are.
How do you tell the difference from each penguin if they all look the same?
Okay, so as you see, they have tags on them. So you know by the tags, this is African penguin 15, African penguin 101. I think now we are in the 300s.
And then when you release them back into the wild, do you take the tags off before they're released?
Yes, we take the tags off when it's time to be released. And we'll insert a small device called a transponder just to monitor their progress in the wild.
All right. I've got a question here in the chat. Looks like it's from Miss Steckley's crew. And they're wondering...
Okay, guys, I'm going to take the last 2 questions. The rain is starting to get heavy, unfortunately.
Okay, so we might have to say goodbye soon.
Yes.
All right. So quickly, Miss Steckley's class wants to know, what is one of the most, maybe the roughest or the most extreme injury that you guys have treated at SANCCOB?
So it has to be Jaeger, one of the penguins, because her flipper was so bad that it had to be amputated. Now she only has 1 flipper. And we also get a lot of penguins whose feet or 1 foot is bitten off or broken very badly. They have to go to surgery. So we do surgeries on site at the center for these birds. And unfortunately, their feet or 1 foot has to come off, and we put like a bandage for it.
All right. Miss Marquardt's class, you've only had 1 question. So if you have 1 more, you want to turn on your mic, go ahead. And Nonjabulo, if you need to start heading inside, feel free. We can see how the connection does. But go ahead, Miss Marquardt's class.
How many oil leaks happen per year?
With the oil spills now, it's not as bad. So this year, there's only been 1 major oil spill. Just 2 months ago, there were a lot of Cape gannets. So a Cape gannet is it's, if you've ever seen it, it has like yellow on its head, blue eyes, and has white wings. So our other center in the Eastern Cape had a lot of influx of those birds. But the oil spills are not as bad today as they were like 30 years ago, because now we have things like laws that protect these birds, and also ships now have to have 2 tanks in them. So if the oil leaks from tank 1, it will go into tank 2. So oil spills are not as bad now. You'll get 1 or 2 seagulls coming in with the oil spill. That's because the seagulls are very naughty. Very, very naughty. They will look at you while you're chilling at the beach, eating your lunch, and wait for an opportunity to like steal your snack or steal your fries.
All right. You mentioned the flipper, losing a flipper or a leg. Is there any situation where they could be released if they've lost a flipper or a leg, or is it just can't happen? They have to stay in captivity.
With the flipper, it cannot happen because now it won't be able to swim fast enough to catch food or fast enough to swim away from predators. With 1 foot, they are able to survive.
All right. Well, I can see that the rain has picked up, so we are going to let you get inside and dry off and get the tablet inside. But before we go, we want to say a huge thank you. It's been so great to have you hanging out with us. Maybe I will bring some classrooms in if they want to get loud, if they want to do a big goodbye and thank you. We can let the classrooms get a little bit loud to start their day as well. Very cool.
Bye.
All right. And do go to the website, visit the SANCCOB website, find out ways that you can help the work they do, because I know the work you do, a lot are volunteers, and donations are so important. So definitely spend some time, visit the SANCCOB website. You can adopt an egg or a penguin, I think, too.
Aw.
Yes, you can definitely adopt a penguin if you want to adopt one of these guys. And you can name one also.
All right. Very, very cool. Well, classrooms, thank you for being with us. There they are. Thank you for the great questions. Thanks for playing Kahoot. And Nonjabulo, to you and all of the team at SANCCOB, thank you for all the incredible work you do.
All right. Thank you guys for...
All right. Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks, classrooms.